I went and upgraded it between the last interview and you, and it changed all my questions up on me. So I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, great.
All right, all right. I think we're ready to go. How you doing, Miss Donna Kay?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, thank you for joining me. As I said, I'm a country music artist, and our new song is called "Keep Up With A Cowgirl." It's the title track of our album, and it entices us to want to interview and talk to some real life cowgirls and women that have been in the rodeo industry and just get their story. And I hear that you have had a very successful career, and so uh, your story is probably going to be a lot more interesting and a lot different just for the fact that you've been in this a lot longer. So I don't even know if my questions are even going to matter. If I may just let you run the table here, but I'm going to start off with the same question I ask with everybody. Where did you get your start? What got you into it? Was it your family? Was it you? Where did this whole thing begin for you?
Oh, my dad definitely. Well, I came. It came with the package, I'm afraid. From crawling forward when I was a little bitty girl to because I thought I was a horse all along to going with my dad to rodeos and stuff. So yeah, I definitely my dad was a bronc rider, bull rider, and then in his later years he was a team roper. So
That's awesome. Now, where'd you
definitely.
grow up?
Uh, Mostly Oklahoma. Part of the time when my dad was working, he was in California. So, but he was from Iowa and pretty much Oklahoma, though.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, did y'all ranch or anything like that, or was it strictly competing?
We were mostly competing when we were young. My husband and I definitely ranch, and for 42 years we've been married, so we've done a lot of ranching with that. But when my dad and I, before we were married, definitely just worked and then competed.
That's awesome. All right, let's go in the very beginning then. So when you first started, like how did it begin? I mean, obviously it influenced you, but when you first started and gone on your first horse, all that stuff, we're going to dumb it down as if we're talking to someone that knows zero about the rodeo world. But let's what exactly started you? When did you get on your first horse and when did you know that you had the bug?
Oh, I got on my first horse a lot longer than I before I ever went to any rodeos. So, but I had ponies and we played rodeo all the time because we wanted to be like all the other girls in the 60s. And yeah, we played rodeo all the time. So, but I do remember going to a horse show one time and my dad was hurrying and I won some ribbons and stuff and my dad was hurrying around getting everything loaded and we went to a team roping. And he won the team roping and he was counting his money and I got to looking at my ribbons and I thought, I think I'd much rather have the money than the ribbons. So that was the first carrot before the horse.
I love it. I love it. So what age were you when you really started truly competing?
Well, I went to my first pro rodeo when I was 13. Back in those days, you were allowed to go, before, now it's like 18 and over. But
Yeah.
but it was in Santa Barbara, California, and that was pretty fun. It was a big deal, Everybody who was anybody was there, and I got to be one of those girls.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That
Uh,
was Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I learned very early in life you don't ask a lady her age, but so what year was it you started competing? That's my loophole for the question.
No, I don't know. I don't even remember what year it was, but I'm proud to say I'm almost 65. So,
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, that's
uh,
awesome. Now, are you still competing or have you hung it up? What do you do these days?
no, actually, we raised our family. My husband and I had a saddle shop. He's an artist and a saddle maker. And so my family's raised and moved on. And I always trained horses and rodeoed, went to the all girl rodeos, team rope, barrel raced, roped calves. I mean, did all of it. And once they were grown, I had a really, really nice horse. And off I went. Actually, my first year on the road, I was 61.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's awesome. So you did it for a long time then.
I've done it a very long time. Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, my main question is what inspired you, but obviously your father. But some people I've talked to different cowgirls and different people, and one thing I associate it with is in the music business. Some of us it's 100% about the music. It's about the song. That's all we care about. Some people love the rush of the stage. Some of us it evolves over time. What for you? Is it about the horse? Was it about the rush? What is it that drove you to make you want to keep doing it?
Well, it's for sure there are tons of other inspirational people, and then that would take us all day. So we'll skip that part. Billy Perrin, I always want to say a big thank you for him. He's passed now, but he was a big influence in me too as well. But no, it's definitely about the horse for me. Um, I actually the first NFR I actually made, I was in the alley and absolutely heard nothing. I heard nothing. It was like a dream sequence. It was just like everything closed and I just ran barrels. I set my horse up for success, and it absolutely is about the horse. I was kind of surprised at that, honestly.
That's awesome. The majority answer is about the horse, but there, there's been some that they notice the crowd and that kind of deal. But most of them, it's been the same exact answer. It's almost if you block it out, you don't know it's there, and that's great. That's great.
Well, it's
So
always important as well for me, for the little kids, because I was a little kid
yeah,
one time, and if they want to stop and talk, I always have time for that.
yeah, I'll
That's
never forget that. It's funny you say that. Reminds me. So I try to remember that now that I do what I do and try to make sure that there's little kids and take their time because I didn't rodeo or anything like that. I've always been music, but all my heroes wore the cowboy hat and sang the cowboy songs, and I went that direction. But we ended up in the shoots at Cheyenne Frontier Days when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I remember kind of walking around, and a few of the cowboys cared and came up and said hi, but most of them didn't really care about you and stuff. So it's I like that you brought that up and mentioned that because that's something that I try to keep in mind myself. I don't know if you've seen any of our social media videos, but there's a kid from Arkansas that their family travels, and we actually got him up on stage. He knows every word to every song, and I try to.
Oh,
That was me with George Strait. I mean, I was 3 years old singing George Strait songs, wanted to be him. And so now that I see that, it means so much to see it come full circle. So I'm really glad you brought that up because that
yeah,
really hits home for me.
that's a good guy to pattern yourself after.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of them out there, but that's they took me to see him when I was 3, and from that day on, I said that's what I want to do, and here we are, still chasing this old neon rainbow.
It's yeah, and those of us that run up and down the road, we listen to you. So
Yeah,
you doing it well makes us make it from one point to the next.
yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, I want to talk to you too. One of the girls we've interviewed, she was in her rookie year, and we've had a few veterans that have been around for a while. And it's kind of cool to see the different styles of the prep and how they go about it. And obviously, I want to know over your career over time. Were you one of them that when you first started, it was go, 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 be on the road as much as you can, and as time went on, you decided you want to be at home more, or what? How much were you gone throughout the years?
Well, for all the years that my husband and I were, had our kids little, I would leave on Friday night after we closed our store and go to the rodeos, and then I had to be back and have clothes ready and kids ready and get ready for work on Monday morning. So I was pretty much a whatever it took to get there and get back in time.
Hmm.
And then currently, in the last 4 years, I leave like maybe June 13th, 14th, and don't get back until the end of September. So, and as I've aged, honestly, I don't rush anymore. I don't drive all night. I don't have 2 runs in a day if I can keep from it. And of course, they make us occasionally do that, and that's fine. We understand that. But yeah, I've changed a lot. I've slowed down, and destination is important. Get there, get comfortable, and get my horse okay.
Love it. I love it. So what's one of the big things, and I've asked the same question, I've introduced it the same way, but I'm gonna make sure I say it the same way so it relates to you as well. For me as an artist, so many people think that you just show up, step on stage, put on a show, and that's all there is to it. And they don't realize there's so much behind the scenes, even the days at home, much less the travel to get there and then the setup. So what's the process for you? What's the training at home, and then when you do travel a day on the road and then getting there, go through that whole process with us.
Oh yeah, it's what you see on the social media is the highlight reel. That's for sure. Same with me. It's just the highlight reel. So, I get up every morning. My horses are fed by 6:30. I'm cleaning stalls. I'm, repairing tack. I'm hauling hay. I'm hauling feed. I typically, when I'm home, and I don't ride as many as I used to, obviously at this age you don't, but, I ride 4 a day usually. In my heyday, I'd ride 6 a day and still work a 10-hour day and have 2 kids. So, get the truck fixed, run down and get a new fuel filter, run quick and get hay. It's something all day, every day. And then you jackpot, keep your horse together and keep your timing good. So you go to Tuesday night jackpot or a Wednesday night jackpot. And then, like when you get to a rodeo, it's a big deal, and it's really funny because when you get home after that June to September deal, it's a little hard to settle because the whole thing is a destination driven. You hurry and get where you belong, get your horse squared away, get your pins made, get your shavings in there. Or if you didn't have shavings, you got to run quick and go to town and get shavings. It's a lot, and you're tired and cranky, but your horse is fed and comfortable, and that's the most
Yeah.
important. And the rest takes care of itself.
I love it. I love it. So as far as your horses themselves, do y'all breed and train yourselves? Do y'all look for horses? And if you do, go purchase them or look for them, what are you looking for in the horse when you go after it?
I think everyone has their own specific thing. Of course, we're always on the hunt for that really, really well bred, correct conformation, uh, good mind. A lot of girls can buy one and just get on and go. I've always been a trainer, so it's difficult for me to get
Yeah.
on somebody else's horse, and my horsemanship is far different than most. Um, I I want them broke extremely well before I ever go to the barrel pattern. So I
Hmm.
typically do a whole lot of different things, rarely go to the arena, spend a lot of time in the pasture, and I expect, respectability and kinship with my horses.
So, I mean, do you guys breed them at all, or do y'all still go get them and then work with them once you have
Um, for me, I prefer to go ahead and buy one that's already, one step past the bucking part.
them?
I have done bucking horses, but not by choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like them broke a little bit, and then I can put the rest of the things that I like in there. I'm very particular about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been around both, where and I was in the horse world for a split second there with some people that did the English style stuff. They did it all, but that was what they specialized in. But it was
That
that's when it really opened my eyes to there's the real people behind the scenes that are getting these horses ready, and then all that whole deal. So it's cool to see different people that want them from day one. Some want them on a certain step, and some want them I just want to jump on and go. So it's
yeah.
interesting just to see the preferences and why they have those preferences. Let me ask that for you. So, what is the reasoning? Why do you want it at that exact point?
Um. Well, I did ride English when I was young, and I jumped and I rode some race horses, and you know, I we are not strong enough to manhandle a horse. So I need to be smarter than the horse. I need him to respect me. I need for him to understand everything I'm telling him, whether I'm at the Tuttle, Oklahoma jackpot or if I'm in the alley at the National Finals Rodeo with a stagecoach running at me 30 miles an hour. He needs to count on me and I need to count on him.
Yeah,
So no stuff is in there.
I
So
love
that's
it.
that's why I like it that point.
Well, that makes sense. It's cool to see different theories on where they are with that, and it's cool to hear yours. So obviously, over there, how have you seen the rodeo change since you started to now? Because obviously, you've had more time around it to see the differences, and I really got some insights with my last interview on things that I never would have thought of. So I'm curious to see what you bring to the table here of what you've seen over the years.
Oh, so much change. A neat thing that I heard one of the bull riders say was used to you'd walk into the training room and there'd be a guy drinking a beer and one guy in the corner he's it's not like that anymore. They're doing yoga and they're eating good and they're drinking way more money involved both on preparation and payout. So yeah, vast difference from the 60s to the 2000s.
I could see that. But, I see that in sports. I'm a big football fan, and our head coach at Arkansas, there's a picture of him on the sideline when he was an offensive lineman at college drinking a cold beer on the sideline. And I'm like, man, those times are done and
Very
gone. So
different, yeah.
I
Yeah.
could see that.
I guess
So,
there's not a lot wrong with having a cold beer, but timing needs to be different.
yeah, it's probably changed a little bit in this day and age.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so let's go into your day of the ring, like when you're actually getting ready to ride. What's your prep? Is there a music that you listen to? What's your get in the zone, get you ready to hop on and ride? What do you like to do?
I'm pretty much a pacer. I do everything. I'm silly about where I tie him, how I brush him, either Valor, the current horse that I have, or any of them. Um, I'm pretty, yeah, music. I can do Christian music mostly. Um, that Mercy Me song, golly, I can't think of the name of it now, but it pumps me up and it gets me excited for the time. And I want him to think about me, and I want him to start, kind of. I don't know. It's almost as if he starts inflating a little bit, and then I have
Yeah,
to relax him. So keeping. I already know he can run. So for Valor that I currently run, I have to keep him a little bit quieter. So I'm a real quiet, slow warmer upper, and I want his muscles right, and I want to feel that he's feeling right, and each leg is where it belongs, and know that it's hitting in the right cadence. So yeah, I'm kind of particular about that stuff.
that's great. That's great. So I've heard different people talk about, when they want to be on a horse and when it's in their prime and that kind of like, when do you think is the perfect time? This horse is ready to rock and it's going to be at its best. I mean, is it a time? Is it a certain age? Is it different with every horse? What do you look for when you know it's time to really get this thing going?
The Reader's Digest version answer to that would be probably between 7 and 9 was the ideal age, but that's so variable. It depends
Yeah.
on the individual.
Yeah.
That description of me getting ready to make a run is what I find out every day and try and listen to that to find out when he's going to peak and when ideal time for him would be.
I love it. Now, are there any challenges being a woman in the industry? I mean, obviously the females compete against the females. You're not competing against the guys, but is there a big difference between the guys in the rodeo and the women in the rodeo that you see or notice, or something that makes it harder for y'all?
Well, back in the old days, yeah, I was the only girl at the team roping back in the old days. So that was pretty weird. I mean, it has really advanced, and I'll tell you, most of the bulldoggers nowadays that are going, and I don't see a lot of the team ropers, but the time event guys typically we see more than we see the roughies. But the bulldoggers take care of us girls pretty much if we need help there, and pretty much anybody would pitch in. But you know, nowadays I feel like the ladies are a lot more independent than they've ever been, and so I see that being different. And then me being older, a lot of guys will pitch in and help me no matter what. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's more of a family, more of a brotherly thing. So
That
I
was gonna
don't.
be my next question is do you see it as a camaraderie, or is it more competitive and trying to gain an edge on each other, or is it a little mixture of both?
Oh, there's no doubt that we enter to be to win first place. There's no doubt on that.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you, if anybody has trouble, everybody will drop what they're doing and go help.
Yeah. I love it. I
That's
love it.
that's 100%. Us girls, sometimes we get fussy at one another, and typically I get along with everybody, but you see it a lot. But I guarantee you, if something goes south on somebody, we'll all pitch in.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm not gonna lie, you are straight to the point and answer the question so fast. You've already blown through everything on my list that I've asked everybody, which is great. Which is great. So I'm trying to think on my head here of things that I'd be interested in. And so, a lot of my listeners and the people that would see on my end probably don't know rodeo or behind the scenes. They see you jump on and ride, and that's about it. But what is something you think that people should know, or if they have any interest in it, they should know about, or just any wisdom that you would have to pass along?
Well, I would like to talk to a lot of people that I see in the stands. I can hear them say things about the calf roping or how hard it is on the animals or that. But they need to understand that we love these animals. Whether we're roping a calf, or roping a steer, or riding a barrel horse, we love these animals and we take good care of them. They're an investment, and it's not just about the money. Your heart and soul is in them. Every day when I wake up, I think about my horse. I think about all my horses. In fact, I went last week and someone saw one of my horses. Somebody had sold him, and he was at the killer pen. And he was skinny and frail and awful.
Mm,
Well, he's 25 years old. I mean, he's supposed to be old and icky, but you don't just, I can't do that. I
yeah,
went and brought him home. And he's had
that's great.
something to eat every single day. Twice a day. I have to soak his feet because his teeth have gotten bad. So, they need to understand that we really care.
You said something there that kind of brought to me. I asked about their prime, but I didn't ask about the back half of it. What is the age that you know that you need to retire a horse? Or, if it's not an age, what is it you're looking forward to? Man, it's time to hang it up. He needs to just enjoy the rest of his life.
Well, anybody that's worth their salt will understand that if a horse is telling you, I can't do this, I don't want to do this,
Yeah.
then it's time.
Yeah.
If you were to put an age on it, I'd say we start probably watching them slow down somewhere around the age of 15.
Yeah.
And most of my horses will live to be, 25 to 28, on up into I had one that lived till he was 35. And, I kept him. I mean, I
Yeah.
kept him here where I could look at him, and he was kind of a senile old buzzard when at the end, but he gets to stay. They get to stay. They've done for us, and we owe them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Or are there any big plans? Obviously, the year's coming to an end, so I may say for the rest of the year, but even next year, are you going to try to go to NFR, or are you riding, doing anything anymore? What's on the agenda for you coming up?
Oh yeah, I have qualified for my fourth NFR this year, and so I'm excited. I'm preparing for that. starting back on 2023 in November. Our year has ended as of September 30th. So we'll start back at whatever comes up now. And yeah, I actually got a new hip April 25th of this year. And
Good as new then, ain't you? Good as new.
6 weeks later, I went to Calgary and won second at Calgary. So
That's
I think I
amazing.
got another year in me. So I'm going to give it another try and make another national finals rodeo, I hope.
That's amazing. Well, I don't know that you're talking to my audience when I say this, but as far as up and coming cowgirls and barrel racers that are looking for guidance or wanting to get into it, what's something you would tell them?
Go get good horsemanship skills, whether it's working cow horse or English, like you were talking about, or uh, whatever. But learn, never stop learning. I swear I will never know as much as I want to know. So at this point in my life, I always learn. But yeah, get some help and get a good, solid horse. Don't buy one and try and grow up together.
You just said that, and I'm glad you brought it up because the last interview I had was the first time that I heard this. But she mentioned that she actually was raised doing English as well, and that she felt like that really gave her an edge on her style and writing and benefited her. Do you see that the same as well?
Oh yeah, you have got to ride your horse if you're doing English. I mean, it's a little postage stamp that they put you on with two little stirrups.
Yep,
You
yep.
need to learn to feel your horse. You can't pull on their mouth and uh, just to stay on. So it's English is a good place to start. Dressage, jumping, any of that.
I love it. I love it. Well, I don't know that I can think of anything worth keeping your time here for us. Is there anything you want to add before we jump off?
Well, we wish you super duper luck in your music, and we'll be listening for you.
Well, I appreciate it very, very much. And then are you on social media and all that good stuff? Where can everybody find you?
Oh yeah, Dona Kay Rule, professional barrel racer, and there's only one N in Dona Kay, so that's where you would find my stuff. And I don't do all of that, honestly. Somebody else does. I am a little bit less than technologically driven.
Well, being a country artist, I know the feeling. I'm not big on it, but I had to learn how to do it. So I'm with you.
For sure.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. And I look forward to catching you out here on the road at some point. I'll definitely let you know when we're coming your way, invite y'all out to a show.
Oh, that sounds great. We'd be glad to come.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you have a great rest of your day and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye.